Hello everyone, Lozoculars here, and today we're gonna review some Combinator model from 2005. So one which can be made with two Visorac, and the other one which can be made, yes, with two Tower Ordica. So we're gonna begin with the Visorac Combinator first, which can be made with the green one and the brown one, and it's called the Chute Lurker right here. So here we go. Oh, I maybe try to, yeah, just do that. Something like that. So this one is an omnivorous rally, so it does not belong to the Visorac horde. For example, the Gate Guardian, which was also some combiners, this one was put in the horde, for example. Excuse me, I'm just gonna try to put him in a solid pose, which does not really make him fall off. Yeah, this one looks pretty nice. So when I finish my turn around, I'm going to show you how it works. So in fact, it's quite interesting because I think this combiners is the most interesting one in the Visorac combiners. I do not count the Visorac combiner which can be made with 3 Visorac. I just count the ones which can be made with 2 Visorac. So there were just 3 combiners: the Gate Guardian, the Kahgarak, and the Chute Lurker. I've also already reviewed the Gate Guardian and Kahgarak, and I think this one is one of the best. I'm going to explain why later. Okay. So first of all, you're gonna have some Visorac body frame right here, so the gray part, which you may well know. Then it's linked to a pelvis part, which will of course be useful to link some legs. Also, this body frame, which will be useful to link the other legs, so the middle one and the front one right here, as you can clearly see. So this front one are linked with pelvis, which of course pelvis part, vacuum pelvis part, which is normal, and this one is just linked with a double connector right here. You can also notice the little details right here with some Visorac teeth, which is used this time as kind of a back horn or stuff like that. It's really cool. Then on this body frame, I'm gonna add another body frame, which this time is just useful to link the head. So it's like a normal Visorac head. There is nothing really new or different. It's just the same frame as a normal Visorac. And that's quite all, guys. So the rear legs are made like this. So kind of a normal one, but with this time the knee covers is on the bottom part, and then you have some Visorac legs right here. This also you're gonna use some green one on this on the top, or on the on this part. The same goes for this way, in fact. But this time we're gonna use just some little Baroque eyes, because all the we do not. Yes, I think there is not. There were not more parts. There were no more parts like this. The little one side is a pin, the other side is an axle. So we're gonna just have to use this parts right here, and that's quite all, guys. So we're gonna try to link this, because of course you have to, as you can clearly see, the shape is kind of strange because it goes like that, like for example, kind of a Z, if I can say so, or just a S. So anyway, it means that you have to put there's two legs right here. So they are the one which will stand on the ground. So this means that the head look down, and then you have this kind of front legs which can be moved, of course, the way you want. So of course the point of this is to make the head does not really yes, we can make something like this, which is I think cooler, of course, because the head does not really look the ground. So it's of course like this, maybe, yeah. So you can see you can really try to pose your it's really easy to pose it. So it's quite good articulated, because of course you got 3 points of articulation right here, 3 right there, and 2 right there. And here we go. I think that's quite all. So I think that, yes, that's all for this one. So if you want my opinion on this one, I think that it's a pretty cool combiner, because it's original, and also it has not really any big flaws, if you ask me, because the two other ones, the Great Guardian and the Kahgarak, were, for example, full of little flaws, full of empty space and stuff like that. But this one, in fact, is pretty cool because it has not really any empty space, because, for example, this part, they add some visual active right here, so it's make interesting and original design section. Also, the other design is like the Great Guardian, so that means it's original, but there is no flaw. So I think that's why I think this is one of the best combiners, the best visual combiners in the 3.1. Of course, I just count the normal one, so I do not count the Zyvon or the two other combiners which can be made with 3 visual. I just count the one which can be made with 2 visual, and this one I think is the best. And also I pretty like, yes, this type of spider with 4-leg creatures, and also it got other arms on the front, which really look nice. So yeah, it really look like an interesting insect-like way, if you ask me. So yeah. So that's all I think for the Chute Lurker. We're gonna now talk about another combiner, which this time can be made with 2 Toa Ordica, Muju and Nokama, so the blue one and the white one. And guess what? It's another spider, yeah. So of course it's really original. Just kidding. And in fact it's not really that bad. So this one is amphibious predatory YE, thanks to Biosector 01, and also it's Ant Visoac. So that's quite interesting for the storyline part. Of course you can read the storyline on Biosectors on the Sea Spider page. And this one is pretty interesting because the frame is quite original. We're gonna use, of course, the one of the parts of the Ordica torso frame. On this one, we're gonna link some different connectors. No, first we're gonna link this part, which is the Ordica part. On this one, we're gonna be able to link these 2 connectors, which will be useful to make the back part, the rear part, which is made with weapons, so it kind of look cool, if you ask me, so interesting design element. Then you have different type of connectors, in fact, which are kind of all linked together. For example, this one is linked to this one, which is linked to these 2 ones, and these 2 ones are linked, for example, to the pelvis part. This pelvis part will be useful because they will provide some ball joint to link the 4 legs. So the legs, in fact, are pretty simple, just some normal Ordica one, but just some baroque eyes to make the little this part of the legs. Also you can notice some axle of 3, of course, because there was not 4 axle of 2, so we're gonna use this part. So of course it stands out, but it's not really a problem. We have seen worse things, like for example the ice vermin, which really have tons of axle which just goes everywhere. And this part really stands nicely because they are also linked to the torso frame right here. So you can see maybe a little pin right here. And then you have the eyes, which are made with the 2 ball joint parts, which are, of course, are from the neck part. And then the head is just made with an Ordica head. And that's quite awesome. Of course, all the legs have 3 points of articulation, so it's pretty well articulated. So, for example, you can make stuff like that if you want him to really crawl on the ground. You can. Of course, it can fall off. And if you want to make it in this way, you can also do this like that. And well, that's all for this one. So if you ask me, it's a pretty design, it's an interesting design because it's worked pretty well, and also it was quite interesting to build. So the only flaws I have, except for the fact that again it's a spider design, so we have seen that tons of time, billions of time, is the fact that if you look on the top, you see all the connectors. So for example, there is absolutely no, for example, special parts to cover this section, and it's kind of weak. It's a weakness because of course you see all the connectors and gray stuff, so it doesn't really look that good. So in comparison to this part, which is really nicely done, because of course of the weapon, this one is kind of a flawed one. And also you may notice that the head is not really that well designed, but I think it's worked pretty well because you can recognize the 2 eyes and maybe the little part of the head. So it's worked quite nice. Also the legs are not really well designed, but they work just fine if you ask me. So a pretty well designed spider like Wave, yes. And that's all, guys. Of course it's not really that original, but at least it's a nicely done one. It's not like it's a spider and also it's badly designed. No, this one is kind of cool, just except for some flaws. So here we go. I'm maybe going to do a little sum up on these two ones. So the Chute Lurker, of course, who ends in the Chute section of Metro Nui, and the Sea Spider who ends with the Wack. So two early, of course, and I think that they are really good, in fact. So I will really recommend you to build this one because it's quite interesting. The building is quite, in fact, the two guys have interesting building techniques, and the building itself is quite entertaining. Of course, not really as entertaining as building some Titan set or stuff like that, but still, it's more entertaining than the other Combinator model, if you ask me. And they also have little flaws. So seriously, this one just have some flaws on the fact that it's not original at all, and also the fact that this part is not covered. But this one really have not any big flaws, apart the fact that you have really to pose him in some pose to have him look in front of him and not on the ground. So yes, but apart from that, I think that these two combiners are pretty well done. So I can advise you to build this one, but again, of course, it's up to you to decide if you want to build this one or not. So I hope this review I've helped you to decide in this choice. And of course, if you have any question I have not answered in this review, feel free to ask them, and I will try to answer them. So that was my review on the Chute Lurker and the Sea Spiders. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and see you later for another Bionicle video reviews. Bye bye!